Welcome folks to another fun-filled installment of Bootleg Cinema, where we take a look under the rug of pop culture and chew on the juicy morsels of crumbs of lost media underneath. Sounds fucking yummy. Now let's get to it. As always, I'm Dr. McNasty, and now it's time to address the big elephant in the room. Yeah, that one. That fucking elephant. Yeah, it's no secret I haven't been doing YouTube videos in a while. The truth is, I've been busy doing research. For those of you who've actually been following the streams, all two of you that is, you know that we've been frequenting tonight's topic a lot. Tonight's topic, well, it's roller games. And keep in mind when I'm saying this, when we frequent it, I mean I spent the past 2 months ingesting anything and everything that is roller games. I mean all 3 video games. I've watched every episode. Not on air. Don't worry, no spoilers for anybody who is watching on stream. And I've ingested pretty much every bit of media that is roller games related. I guess you can say for the past 2 months I've lived roller games. If you don't believe me, you can ask Ezra.
Aren't you forgetting something?
Not happy. Well, with no further ado, let's dive into anything and everything roller games right now. Well, before we can get into the complete and utter fucking fever dream that is roller games, let's please take a moment to learn about the origins of roller derby, which is the mother sport of roller games. Roll that beautiful footage, please.
Dateline, 1935. Chicago, Illinois, the birthplace of the roller skate. Young entrepreneur Leo Seltzer scribbles an idea on a tablecloth, giving birth to the fast-paced sport of roller derby. Originally conceived as an endurance sport with co-ed teams racing one another for 57,000 laps around the bank track, the newfangled roller derby draws frenzied mobs of enthusiasts and packs large venues like the Big Apple's Madison Square Garden. The advent of television brings the rough and ready antics of roller derby into the living rooms of millions of Americans. By 1960, roller derby evolves into a full-contact team sport with a scoring system and bone-rattling hits. The 70s bring an economic downturn for the good old US of A, and roller derby takes a hit, and hard. Interest in the sport wanes, and by the mid-1970s, roller derby rolls into the history books.
And that's where roller games begins. If you'd like to know more about roller derby, I suggest you checking out the movie for which this is clipped from, which is called Hell on Wheels. It actually helped me out a lot, and also if you really want to know more about the culture, I suggest you checking out a YouTuber, Indie Jammer Jones, which actually helped me way more than I thought it would on this video, so check that shit out, and link is in description. So, on to, well, roller games.
Are you ready for rock and roller games? The hottest new sport in America. More power than heavy metal. More hits than MTV. 6 exciting teams powered by rock and roll.
Are you ready
for roller games?
Roller Games, late night Saturday, only on Channel 2.
Roller Games was founded in the late 1960s in Los Angeles, California, by San Francisco native Herb Roberts. Herb would form his league with the goal of rivaling Jerry Seltzer, who at the time ran a roller derby monopoly under the uncreative name of the Roller Derby League. But unfortunately, it wasn't roller games just yet. Herb, along with his flagship team known as the Los Angeles Thunderbirds, often referred to as the LA T-Birds, was acquired by Bill Griffith and Jerry Hill in the late 1961. The first games being skated in 1961, the T-Birds quickly became one of the most popular, well-known teams in history, and banked track skating all over the region. Well, it didn't take long for them to get notarized. because during much of the 1960s and 70s, the T-Birds games were broadcast in prime time by KTLA in Los Angeles, also shown in many other markets in the United States as well as internationally. Sunday night T-Bird games were one of the highest rated TV programs in Los Angeles market for many years. The voice of the T-Birds was Dick Lane, who coined the phrase "Whoa Nelly," which has been used since by others such as Keith Jackson. Lane started his roller derby broadcasting career in 1951 and joined KTLA and the T-Birds in the 1960s. Announcer Dick Enberg once said he was the greatest announcer in Los Angeles sports history. Lane retired in 1972 and died in 1981. I know what you're thinking. Doc, I didn't come here to learn. I come here to have fun. Well, shut the fuck up and sit down. I'm about to get to that part. Just hang on. Well, remember that Griffith dude we talked about earlier? Yeah, the guy who pretty much bought out the whole franchise. Well, he knew the marketability of it. He knew with the height of, the T-Birds and the success of the league, there's no way you could fail. So, soon after that, he teamed up with other people and he created what we now know as Rollergames. And I know what you're thinking, Doc, roller derby, this, that. We're tired of it. What the fuck is Rollergames and what makes it so special? Why do we care? What's so rock and roll about fucking roller games and why are you wasting all our time? Well, like I said before, shut the fuck up and sit back down. We're about to get to it. In 1989, during the peak of Reaganomics malls and, mall arcades, television producers David Sams and Mike Miller teamed up with Rollergames and, of course, its owner, our boy, Billy Griffiths Sr., to create the modern version of the sport modeled as what we now know as roller games. Sam provided colorful commentary while Chuck Underwood provided the main play-by-play. Now that we learned what roller derby is and what roller games was, now let's get into the dynamics of roller games and why it was such a fucking clusterfuck. I'm literally wordless. I'm speechless on how absurd the sport of roller games is. I mean, it has everything from rock and roll MTV music video inspired fucking set designs. It has a point system that makes virtually no fucking sense. And it even has a fucking alligator. A live alligator. The roller gator. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that part. And I'm going to be honest here, roller games has about as much as common with the sport of roller derby as professional wrestling has with Olympic wrestling. It was a totally different breed for its time, but it was enough to get, a American gladiator-fueled American populace to tune in, and it worked. And this is the part where I literally just throw away the script, and I have no other way to explain this but just by sheer memory of the stream and when we first initially saw roller games. And at first it seemed like roller games was a typical roller derby sport. And it seemed fun, but the first thing you're going to notice is the track is different. The track was a figure 8 style, which was fun, which also featured a new thing, which wasn't also in roller derbies, which was known as the Wall of Death, which was a approximately 20-foot tall embankment that pretty much affected the score system depending on how high they managed to maintain their longevity up to the embankment. Along with that, there was a colorful, very, very colorful array of managers and character types for the viewers to get lost in. And this is where pretty much I pick up and I give my own personal retrospect on it. The show was fucking crazy, man. I'm not going to waste your time, and it's not for the best. That's not true. It's not for everybody. It's definitely camp. It's definitely cheese. I don't believe at all that it takes itself seriously as a sport. And all in all, it was just off the wall crazy. And now it's kind of my go-to for, comfort. It's nice. It's cheesy. It's just awful. Well, now that we got all the history stuff out of the way, the number one draw of roller games, personally for me, was the fact that it was a visual spectacle. It wasn't just a normal sport where, you might have a good halftime. This show took the idea of what if you had a halftime show and you made it into the whole fucking sport. I mean, it had a variety of fucking teams. I can't even. I'm literally going to have to list off all these fucking teams. I believe it was made up of primarily 6 teams. T-Birds, which was home to my boy, Ralphie Valadares. The Rockers, Hot Flash, Bad Attitude, and of course, the Violators and Maniacs. Most of which were just weird amalgamations of what they thought kids were into during those times. A lot of neon, a lot of spandex, leopard print. It was just awful. And each team had their own persona and led by their own little boss type, if you will. It was just fucking crazy. You had Georgia Haas, which was already notorious from her roller derby days, just being a loudmouth and unfortunately kind of a bigot, but we're not going to touch on that right now. And then you had, I can't even. Then you had the Rockers, which had the aesthetic of the MTV era, Twisted Sister rocker type, very late 90s type things. And, with the Hot Flash, it was very much 80s excess, Miami Vice themed. And, with Bad Attitude, which was Georgia Haas's team, I don't even think they had an aesthetic. Looking like garbage, I guess. Being fucking garbage. And then the Violators, which were just typical Rob Halford biker trash. Then you got the Maniacs, which were, I guess, just another garbage team, just to throw whatever color compounds and tapestry they could at a character and say, boom, this is it. He looks like tapestry. And yeah, it was so fucking weird, man. It was so fucking weird. And then, dude, I'm literally, because just to give you a record, I tried scripting this out, explaining it step by step. I've used everything. I've storyboard on how to explain the fever dream that is. And I keep calling it a fever dream because that's what Rollergames was. It was a visual spectacle pretty much guised as a sport. Dude, they had Rollergator, and come to think of it, I only think they only brought out the Rollergator once, and that was for the pilot episode, which pretty much was like an amalgamation of a whole series, all within like an hour time period. Which, if you want a good taste of Rollergames, I suggest you definitely check that out. Link will be in the description along with every other link that I've listed prior. And dude, and the great thing about Rollergames was it did give you characters to root for. It had great characters on the T-Birds team, such as like Ralphie Valadares, which has been around since the early days, hence the roller derby days. And dude, it had so many different people, so many different characters to root for. If you had a personality type, they had a character to match it. And not only that, the show was actually kind of groundbreaking for its fucking time. I'm not gonna lie to you, like. Not only that, it was a co-ed sport. It was equal opportunity. It was fun, despite, some of the off comments from some of the other people on there. The show, I hate to say it, was kind of fucking woke for its time. And yeah, did they have a few things with, I forget, what Wally's Corner, where they had some old bigoted dude pretty much just giving his out-of-date senses of what he thinks the sport should be, even though he was just there to troll the younger viewers into telling them to shut up and get people to write into, back when, that was a thing, writing into your favorite show in order to put in input, which, by the way, I think we kind of still do that. But the best thing out of this tangent was it was this huge spectacle, and, the music videos, the musical segments. Dude, I still, to this day, since my initial watching of it, have the song Rollergames stuck in my fucking head. And you know what? By the end of this video, you will too. But out of all the songs, and out of all the spectacles, I have to talk about my main man, the Rollergator. On the pilot episode, they introduce the idea of the tiebreaker for the roller game sport, where it is a one-on-one. I don't know how to. Is it like a sumo off? Is it a fucking sumo off? I believe it's a sumo off. It's a one-on-one fucking sumo off where they have to wrap around the gator pit and try to throw each other into the gator pit, and the first one to fall in loses. And in order for them to do all this, they have to sit through what I can only assume is a choreography dance with a buff dude named Animal who holds the gator. Yeah, the clip is showing right now. I hope to God, editor, if you're listening to me, please show that clip. And it's just so fucking... It's a fever dream. All of it's a fever dream, and at the end, just like Whose Line Is It Anyways, the points don't matter as long as you fucking have fun. And honestly, if you're ever on a rainy day and you want some weird interdimensional fucking television to watch, that shit that you had no idea existed, go to YouTube, type in Rollergames. All their episodes are free for fucking YouTube. Please, check it out, because honestly, I want Rollergames back. As crazy as it all sounds, America needs roller games. America needs something we can unite together, despite what we are, physical orientation, sexual orientation. What the fuck is physical orientation? Well, I guess body type. You know, sexuality, all that. Doesn't matter what you are. You can participate in roller games. You can be an athlete, and you can have fun. And that's what I fucking like about this sport. And honestly, I made this video, and the reason why I wanted to do this video, I wanted to take it professionally, and I wanted to really dive into it, but all in all, I can't hide it. I fucking love this sport. I don't, and I wanted to see it grow. So, I guess this is a better time than any to let you know that there will be a part 2 to this. Not necessarily to roller games, but to the roller derby sport, and I want to find out if it's still alive and where it is, and bring it to the source. And thanks to, like I said earlier, India Jamma Jones and other people that I've watched, and I want to bring it back. And unfortunately, it's not going to be easy. So, on that note, let's hurry up and wrap up this video. And what did we learn? Now that I'm in my formal roller games attire, it's time for my final thoughts. After the 2 months of being forced to, not being forced, but ingesting everything and anything that was roller games, I feel that in a weird way, it was kind of magical. It was fun. It was an experiment of a multimedia project, and it's something that honestly, it'll probably be a long time till we ever see again. And I'm glad I did it. Clearly I didn't cover barely the surface, that is, the actual topic, despite all the information I gave you guys. But if you want to know more, just hit me up in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I don't know where else to go. I don't know what else to say that Roller Gator hasn't said already. You know what? Roller Gator, play us on out. Bye!
Just